Yo, yo, what's up, guys? Today's game vlog. It's been a while. Hasn't it? Happy New Year. I believe this is my first video of 2015. We're going to talk about Fate Stay Night Unlimited Blade Works. Now, for those who have not been following this series, well, it's hit its mid-season finale, which it seems like every fucking show is doing now. It's like mid-season finale, mid-season finale, mid-season finale, and it's creeped its way into anime. Mid-season finale. I'm like, come on, can we stop? I want to talk to those who are strictly watching Fate Stay Night Unlimited Blade Works and know nothing about Fate Zero or the Fate Stay series in general or the Fate series. For those who don't, so this is kind of giving some light, and even for some of you guys who were like me, who watched Fate Zero and didn't know anything about the light novel or the game, and literally just jumped into Unlimited Blade Works. For those who don't know anything about any of them except for what they're watching, which is Unlimited Blade Works, here's the deal. Fate Stay Night is originally a light novel in a video game, and it's one of the multiple routes video games. Route being defined by a certain thing, or in this case, a certain girl. Unlimited Blade Works is different from the original Fate Stay Night anime that we got almost like half a decade ago, if not even longer than that. I didn't watch the original Fate Stay Night, but from what I've read up on it, the original Fate Stay Night anime just tried to do what Persona did, which is fuse its routes. Now, Persona, from what I understood, did it relatively well because the routes didn't have that big of a difference and there weren't that much difference in plot points versus doing that in the Fate series where each route was drastically different in different ways. For example, certain characters didn't get expanded upon in certain routes. Certain characters, certain servants, and then on top of that, some of the deaths and the people who survived and the ways they survived were completely different depending on which route you took. So needless to say, trying to fuse those types of routes pretty much turned into a whole bunch of continuity errors, and you're left with an anime-only setup that now just seems like complete trash because there's no way in hell you can do the canon any justice because you mixed everything together, and it's way too convoluted for the anime filler to be any interesting. Because from what I heard, the anime only shit was some shit. That's what I heard. It was some shit. So that brings us to Unlimited Blade Works, where the current predicament is, and from what I understand, the reason why this is even getting a remake in the first place is particularly because Fate Zero did so well. Fate Zero is the prequel to Fate Stay Night. Now, the things in Fate Zero make certain things in Fate Stay Night seem really fucking obvious. There are some people who will tell you not to watch Fate Zero if you're watching Fate Stay Night Unlimited Blade Works, even though in my personal opinion, you're still getting a watered down story regardless, because Unlimited Blade Works is just one of the routes. The way they're taking it this time is instead of trying to combine them all, they're actually doing them separately, at least I assume, because Unlimited Blade Works is just one of the 3 routes. Meaning, this route is only going to show some of the story in the perspective of that character versus the Fate route and the Heaven route, which are both represented by 2 different characters and even have different plot points going on. As I said, certain characters live and certain characters die depending on what route you took. And the same thing kind of goes for character development. Depending on which route you went in, it depends on which characters get character development. Because a lot of people are like, oh, we're going to see more of such and such in that character and that character. I'm like, no, there are certain characters that will not be developed in Unlimited Blade Works. They'll be around, they might do 1 or 2 things, but they won't really be important like you would think they were. And now for those who are coming into this as Fate Zero fans, I think you probably had the same initial reaction as I did when you didn't know any of the history behind Unlimited Blade Works and what it technically was. Because if anyone's noticed, and as I said, if you're a Fate Zero fan, you noticed, Saber seems painfully nerfed in this fucking adaptation. And then you realize, oh, I see. And for those who want to know, the routes are as follows. You have the Saber route, you have the Ren route, and you have the Sakura route. Well, if it wasn't painfully obvious already, the Unlimited Blade Works is the Ren route. It also is the Archer route, which is, I probably say, one of the more interesting parts of her route. I actually find Archer more interesting than Ren because Ren is like the least favorite of the 3 girls you gave me. Like, especially if you're someone who watched Fate Zero. Because I watched Fate Zero and I go into this and I'm like, well, I already know most of the plot twists because I know which characters who jump from that series into this series. I'm like, well, I know what's going to happen because I see you, and you, and I know you from Fate Zero. I know what the fuck you did. I know I can't trust your ass, so it's like, well, that's coming, and that's coming. I may not know the full spectrum of what's going to happen. Also, the fact that Unlimited Blade Works telegraphs its most obvious punch. Come on. I don't even need to explain. If you watch the first 12 episodes of what just aired, you already know that Unlimited Blade Works is easily the biggest mindfuck that's supposed to be in that shit. It's been telegraphed out the ass. It's been, especially in the recent episodes, it's gotten stupid. Oh, look, me and you have ideology differences. I'm usually a calm, cool, collected guy, but for some reason you specifically get on my nerves and I have the tendency to want to murder you. I wonder why that is. You copy my style and start using the same type of weapon fighting as I do. You for some reason gain the ability to use the same weapons that I'm using. Also, I gain a repart back of my... I have amnesia, so I don't know who I am. Also, when I'm gaming, I gain some of my memory back, and I'm seeing Saber in my memories. It's like, come on, it's not even. It doesn't take a goddamn rocket scientist to figure out where the fuck they're going with this. But that's besides the point. This is kind of one of the reasons why I'm kind of indifferent to Unlimited Blade Works as a whole, because it's like the most interesting characters for me personally in Unlimited Blade Works is Shiro and Archer. That's it. Because the Ren is just kind of whatever. Ren is throwaway. Especially if you've seen Fate Zero, she was the character out of the 3 girls, she was the one you wanted to see the least from. Why? Because she's the one who had the most of a happy ending compared to the other 2. Sakura, goddamn, and Saber, god fucking damn it. Also, because of all the development they did with Saber, that's how you can tell she's nerfed in Unlimited Blade Works. Because in fucking Fate Zero, they went into this entire fucking deconstruction of her character, especially with her overall goal. Even her arguments with the other servants, let alone Kiritsugu, and you're just kind of like, bruh, why are we not pushing that aspect of it more? And I'm like, oh, because Saber technically has her own route, which is the Fate route. That also will expand upon a certain character we've already met and fought in Unlimited Blade Works. I won't tell you who it is, but that character has a lot more emphasis in that arc, particularly because of who she's connected to. But I won't spoil it for those who have only watched Unlimited Blade Works. Granted, I don't even think Unlimited Blade Works is even going to touch upon it. But in case they do reanimate a Fate version of this shit, I don't want to go ahead and spoil it for you. But that's why. Because she seems so indifferent. Like, she's just kind of... Like, her moves just range from basic as fuck, protective of Shiro, beast mode. That's it. That's it. The most of classic Fate Zero Saber I've seen is like when she's fighting Assassin. That's like the best she's been. She's just been kind of like whenever the rest of the time. I'm like, see, that's why I don't care for the character. Ren, for me personally, is just one of those girls where it's like, she always tries to stay on top of the conversation and situations, so she refuses to ever let herself be vulnerable. But it's like, well, then what's the appeal to you? Like, Shiro's more appealing to me because he's a main character who for some, well, we know why, but for his own personal reasons, is more angry at the clash of ideals than he is for actions. It's like when Archer fucking slashed him in the back, it was like, so let me get this straight. Archer tried to kill you, and you're mad because he dissed your ideals, not the fact that he tried to kill you. That was interesting to me because it makes me want to look deeper into Shiro's psyche. That's interesting. Ren's whole thing is just boring. Especially, like, the only interesting part she had was the obvious, the way she kind of overly freaked out when she saved Shiro's life at the beginning of the anime. But if you know anything from Fate Zero, then you already know why, part of the reason why she was freaking out so much. Even though all it is a relation situation. Also, the one thing I fucking hated in episode 12 that just pissed me off, just something I want to bring up. When they went on the stupid date, and she was overly aggressive like the entire goddamn date, and then Cheryl's like, oh, you were worried about me, and she gets nervous all of a sudden. That pissed me off because I'm like, so let me get this straight, bitch. You invite him on a date, you were overly aggressive on the entire damn date, but when he fucking acknowledges the fact that you were worrying, he thanks you for caring about him, you get flustered. That's the other thing I think is kind of jarring. You put 3 tsunderes in the main goddamn roles. You put Shiro, Archer, and Ren. Even if you count Saber, you had 3 motherfucking tsunderes. And I guess Saber to me is kind of a neutral robotic character in my opinion. She doesn't feel like, I'm sorry, I just don't really get too much of a character from her anymore. Especially when you compare, if you compare this Saber with the Saber from Fate Zero, she seems really fucking dull here. Really fucking dull. Like, on her own, she's alright, but like, compared to Fate Zero Saber, God, she's boring. She is so motherfucking boring. And you got all these characters who are like, I'm not mad or anything, Baka. Like, they're in their tsundere modes, and I'm like, this is... It's not bad, it's just not, like, it's not the most interesting... Like, I'm like, why would you animate this version first? Like, why didn't you do the Fate route first? Because it's like, who did I want to see the most from? Ren or Sakura? I mean, not Ren. Saber or Sakura? Ren, it was like, she had the most neutral ending, so I'm like, I don't really care. Like, the most interesting part about her route is Shiro, Archer, and like then the villains of her route. That's it. Those are like the best things. Ren herself, to me, is irrelevant as fuck. Also, considering the routes are based on the girls, you can kind of already guess what the ending is. If the routes are based on the girls, that means that at each route, he's going to pick a girl. So, at the Unlimited Blade Works, Ren, the Heavens one, Sakura, and Fate is Saber. Now, I guess this is like every fan fiction nerd's dream, because now you have all 3 routes animated. I'm assuming they're going to animate all 3 routes, because it would make no fucking sense to just animate one of them and not do the other 2, because I think at least Sakura's needs to be done. I want Saber's to be done first, because those are the 2 I'm more interested in. Like, the only thing about Unlimited Blade Works I give a shit about at this point are the villains and, like, Shiro and Archer. That's it. I don't, like, Ren to me is irrelevant. This hair has been bothering me as if there's something... You ever had that feeling when you have, like, an afro or, like, a decently long head of hair, and you're moving around, and at some point you feel like something's dangling off your face, but it's not, so you keep patting your hair? That's how I felt. This shit was ridiculous. But for those who are curious about any of that kind of stuff, Unlimited Blade Works is based on a light novel / video game, which is why you're not going to get all your answers in Unlimited Blade Works. If they do it the way I think they're going to do it, which is animating by arc, animating each route, you're going to have to watch all 3 routes to get a full understanding of Fate Stay Night as a whole. Watching just Unlimited Blade Works is just not going to cut it. And I don't know how people are going to feel about rewatching the same anime retold 2 other different damn times. Especially considering each one has an ending, and you bring up the question, is there a canon ending? And I'm not totally sure, because I only read up a few things. Like, I read up a lot of spoilers for Unlimited Blade Works, but I didn't really look up that much on the Fate route or the Heavens route. I know the general stuff in them, but I don't know, like, the details. Sorry, it's like, I'm tired. I just wanted to talk about it, though. But, Unlimited Blade Works so far has just been kind of like meh. I'm kind of, unfortunately, I had to deal with Ren for another 13 episodes, and it's not like I hate the character, but I'm just so indifferent to her, especially because of that last scene in the anime, or in the mid-season finale, where she's like, you can't do anything as you are now. If you follow us, you'll die. I find this hilarious because, for one, if you're an anime fan who's been watching anime a consistent number of times, you know that statement is bullshit, especially if you know she's the one that Cheryl chooses at the end of this route because it's her fucking route. That's also bullshit. But what makes it painfully obvious is bullshit is when she makes a statement like that, and then the preview for the next episode that airs in, like, what was it, April or some shit, shows them together fighting, and you're just like, bruh, that's dumb. That is so fucking dumb. Just based on premise, it's dumb. Wow, what the fuck. Whatevers. But I just wanted to talk about it. So please leave your thoughts and comments in the comment section below. This has been the Vlogs again from your boy Terrell. And I will catch you guys later. Peace. Oh. Yo. Yo.